Hey, and welcome back to another Amazon selling video. My name is Nikki Kirk, and I've been selling on Amazon for 7 years. This will be my 8th Q4. I'm pretty sure I started in 2020, started in 2017. So count them up. I think this is going to be my 8th Q4. I think I said it wrong last year. Can't remember. Anyways, but this is the Q4 prep series. Now is the time to be prepping for Q4, learning everything you can, setting aside that capital. And today we're going to be talking about pricing and knowing what to buy for Q4. So stay tuned because there is more to come. If you miss any of these videos during the Q4 series, I have a whole playlist on my channel dedicated to this 2024 Q4 prep series. If you want to watch last year's or the year before's, I also have a prep series on those as well, so you can deep dive in and watch all the videos on all things Q4. The Q4 Bolo group is opening soon. So August 25th is the date. Make sure you are on my email list, following along, subscribed here on YouTube, or watching and following along on Instagram at Your Selling Guide. That is where I'm going to be announcing it first, but the people who are on those areas get 2 extra days to sign up. Why that's important? It sold out in 3 days last year, so you don't want to miss it. Q4 is every seller's favorite time of the year because literally everything sells, or it feels like everything sells anyways. It's just your stock is flying off the shelf. The number one mistake most sellers make, or for their first Q4s, sometimes even their second or third, is that they don't have enough stock. So you want to have as much capital and inventory in the Amazon warehouse as possible because that stuff is going to fly. Now there's always an asterisk because it's everything sells, but not if you have it priced really high, not if it's junk and no one wants it, it's got no rank, it's got a rank in the millions and it's not in the book category. There's things that obviously aren't going to sell because they're just not going to sell any time of the year, but for the most part, so much stuff sells. People are in that shopping mood, they are spending their money, and you want to be the one taking their money, right? So, like I said, this video is all about pricing strategies, what goes on with the price during Q4, as well as what to even look for and what to buy, what to kind of notice about sales ranks and all that kind of stuff. We're going to deep dive in. The first thing to note is this goes with really any seasonal item. So right now we're talking, Halloween, Christmas, Thanksgiving, but it could be Easter, it could be Valentine's Day, all the little holidays, summer, seasonal. What happens is you want to be in early or you're going to be out late. And what that means is in early, meaning you get your stuff as soon as you can into the warehouse and it's going to sell at the price you want it to. Or out late, you're going to be holding your price because what's going to happen in the middle, it's going to dip down. Unfortunately, and this is a thing that's been happening in the last 2 years on Amazon. It's happened all the time, but in the last 2 years, it's been worse than ever. People are tanking the prices. Y'all know it. If you watch any of my videos, you already know it. It's super frustrating. There's no need for it. It doesn't make any sense. But what happens is, I don't know, new sellers who don't watch my videos or don't know what they're doing or doing this as a hobby and want to flip stuff, I don't know. But they end up selling, they undercut the price by a penny or $1 or sometimes $5 or $6. And if you use Keepa, you can see that the price was holding. There was no need. It was selling at this price, at this rank. But for whatever reason, they tank the price. So that it happens with all seasonal, and this has happened all the time. This part is not new with seasonal items. It is new with your everyday items, but for seasonal stuff, this is not new. It always happens. So in early. So you get it as soon as you can see it. As soon as you see that, some people in the Bolo group already are sharing that there's already Hallmark stuff in Walmart, and we are in the beginning of July when I'm recording this. So there's already ornaments showing up at Walmart. Stuff is getting there earlier and earlier. So as soon as you see anything Christmas, anything Halloween, start to scan it. If it makes a profit you want, it's at a high price, it's amazing, you love it, send it in as soon as possible or list it FBM and get that thing sold as soon as possible, because eventually as all the other price tankers come on, the price is going to go down, 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 down. Or sometimes people freak out, Christmas could be 2 weeks away. Weirdly, most people aren't even thinking about what to buy for gifts and stuff at this point. And so people freak out and they still lower their prices even more because they want to get it sold, not understanding that people are going to buy stuff a week out of Christmas because Amazon can get it to them in time. So they have the time to buy it. So then the price will, from the people freaking out and dropping their price, and then you get to this other point where it starts to creep back up as all those low ballers have now sold out, the price is coming out. And actually, I'm selling Halloween stuff right now in July that I had from last year. Some of it was stock I got back, some dead stock, some returns. I literally just sent out a wig today. So there's people are going to buy it, whatever. And I sold that wig for more than I was selling it for during, Halloween season last year. So people are going to buy stuff year round. So you might find that you are selling Christmas candy all the way into summer of next year. So it really is kind of like that gamble of like, if you really need to sell it for that price, or you want to hold it out for that price, you're going to be out late. It could be out late right around the holiday. It could be out late after the holiday and still sell for the price that you want to sell it for. But that's the one thing you got to understand about seasonal: in early or out late. And when you're in that middle, hold the price you want it. You can come down a little bit if you're like, well, I didn't really need $50 of profit. I'm good with 40 or whatever. Like you can adjust that a little bit and meet that buy box. Or if you're using a repricer, like you guys know, I love Profit Protector Pro. I am absolutely loving it. I will be using it this Q4. So they have a 2-week free trial if you want to check it out. The link is below. I'll put it here on the screen for you all watching on the TV. Hi. So definitely check it out. They have 2 weeks free, and then I think you're going to love it. It's so easy to use. But anyways, so there's that aspect of it. Like set your repricer to where you want to do it. And that way it will go with the swing of things, but it won't go to a point where you're losing money, because you don't want to be losing money, right? I assume that's why you're selling on Amazon, to make money. With these price tankers, who knows? I never know what they're doing on there, but I assume that you watching this video want to make money. So just hold the price for where you want it. I've actually been wanting to do this video just on pricing itself for a while, so I'm going to work it into it a little bit here. So with pricing, so this is a look into my Amazon account. I'm blurring the stuff I'm actually selling, but I wanted to highlight how, if you're not using a repricer, and even if you are, maybe don't turn on your repricer until your stuff is actually available. So here is what it looks like. So you can see these items right here. I have this item. I do not have any available. It would make no sense for me to match this FBM seller of $12 plus $5.49. So what is that? $17.49 when mine is priced at $24.99. Absolutely no sense to try to match that price when my stuff is not even available to sell, because it's still inbound. It's still on its way to the Amazon warehouse. And this is something I don't think a lot of sellers totally understand or look at. So even before you use a repricer, I've always recommended to just go ahead and do your own manual pricing for a little bit and just to get the hang of it so you understand what's going on. So in reserved here, you can see one has gotten to the warehouse and it's transferring around the warehouse. So that's what FC transfer is: fulfillment center transfer, fulfillment center processing. So basically what it goes through is the customer will order it, and you'd see it there. Then it would be moved down here to FC processing once Amazon is processing it out. But FC transfer is when I sent it to Dallas, let's say. And then from Dallas, Amazon goes, you know what? I really wanted that in Florida. And then they send it to Florida. So that's what the FC transfer is. I hope they're not sending it all that way, but you honestly never know. And you can track your stuff. There's a report for that in Amazon. But anyways, so I always recommend when you're going into the repricing to go and hit available. That way you can see, like, you only really care about the stuff that's available, right? You don't care about the stuff that is not even there or selling. So why would you want to start tanking the price or lowering your price or even think about it when it doesn't matter? Because if that other seller on that other one sells out, then I will be, I might be $24.99. I might be the highest price there. And now I'm going to win the sale because the other person has sold out. But I wouldn't want to lower my price before it even gets there. So now I can see by available, I can go ahead and go, okay, let me look at what I have the most stock in and start there in repricing. Or if you want to go right here, date created, now I can see my oldest stuff first. So this is from July of last year. might be time for me to cut and run. But that's a decision that you would have to make. So just something to know when you get into like pricing, like don't worry about stuff that isn't actually available to sell. You can see the seller Prime Harmony here is, I'm filming this on July 10th, and they can get it to me on July 17th, July 17th. This other seller at $17.99, July 22. So they can't even get it to me anytime, soon. A lot of customers will shop, especially around the holidays, based on when they can get it and how fast they can get it. A little pop-up will show up later on as customers are shopping on Amazon and say arrives before Christmas, arrives after Christmas. That is really important, because if you're trying to win the buy box and you aren't going to get it to them before Christmas, you're not going to be in the buy box, because Amazon prioritizes customer experience, and that means getting a product in a timely manner. So if you can't get it to them in a timely manner, either FBM or FBA, because your stock is moving around, you're not going to necessarily win the buy box versus a seller who's probably higher priced. That happens all the time. You win the buy box, or you sell, you win the buy box, you get the sale when you're priced above the lower price sellers. So just know there's a lot of different factors into it, and being the lowest price is maybe one of them, but it's not necessarily the most important one, because Amazon wants Prime customers, and Prime customers want their stuff fast. So just know that all the things that go into pricing, don't tank the price needlessly. Other things about pricing, price tanking when it comes to this is just year-round advice, honestly, but it can play a role in seasonal items as well, where you get it. So I do not source Ollie's anymore. I took a chance in June. I bought some stuff from there. I went a little more deep than I probably should have. And within a week or two, the price just tanked so bad. And sure, you can hold it and wait it out, but I don't really want to hold and wait it out, because in my experience with Ollie's, I've been having to hold and wait it out for 4 to 5, 6 months. It's just not worth it to me. I'd rather get stuff I can sell within 2 to 3 months versus waiting that long. So Ollie's is just out for me overall. So where you get it, if you buy something at Ollie's, it's likely, very, very, like almost 95% likely, it is going to tank. I have even tested out different deodorants, different bundles. Oh, they have a 2-pack, 3-pack, 4-pack. Cool, I'll bundle them and try different. They all tank, unfortunately. So where you get it, Walmart. Walmart is a great place to source. But during some of the toys, specifically kind of like Hot Wheels, I think there's actually some behind me in my dead pile that I need to list on eBay, some Hot Wheels toys that just tanked. So there's specific kinds of toys. And unfortunately, some of the YouTubers are also sharing, and actually Instagram, it's all over now, TikTok, whatever. People who are sharing what they are buying, that stuff also tends to tank, because when you give stuff away for free like that, that person, you don't know what kind of seller they are. And unfortunately, most of them are the ones who want to flip it within a day, flip it within a week. And then you get the tanking, and that's not a sustainable business model. So all that to say, where you get it, where you saw it, all those things matter. So Walmart, some of the toys, I actually source toys at Target during Q4 a lot, and they tend to hold out. A lot of the store exclusives, so only at Target, only at Walmart, only at Kohl's, those tend to be pretty solid, because someone has to create that listing on Amazon for the product. It's not going to exist because it's a store exclusive, right? I've actually seen Amazon exclusives at like Burlington and Kohl's, which is kind of funny, but if you ever see a store exclusive, those usually are a little more solid and they will hold their price. But just something to note, like you always want to be thinking about where you got it, how widely available it is. If you go down to Ocean State Job Lot, there are only Ocean State Job Lots up in the Northeast. So someone in California cannot get that product. Or they might be able to get it at Ross, but maybe they're only going to have one. But at Ocean State Job Lot, you can buy a whole truckload. Same thing with Grocery Outlet. It's only on the West Coast. I think it's now in the South. I don't know if it's with you guys yet, but eventually it's going to be down there. And then up in Pennsylvania. So if you don't live near one, you're not going to be able to get it. Yes, I have found things at Grocery Outlet and at Ross and at Marshall's, but it's not in the quantity that you can get it at Grocery Outlet. So you just got to like kind of know, are you shopping a regional? Are you shopping Bobby Sue's? store that's the only store in all of America and they have all this stuff at the liquidator, you're going to get a better deal potentially than no one else. The other sellers aren't going to find it. So it all matters where you saw it, where you found it, how widely available is it, how deep should you go? I always, always, always test things out because you never know what could happen. So even now, if I see a whole pallet of something that will make, $20 and I only have to buy it for $5, I am not going to buy that whole pallet because anytime I have been burned. I might buy, 48 of them or something. I might go a little deep on my test depending where I got it. I wouldn't do that at Walmart, but if I found it at a local liquidator or a local discount store, then I might test, bigger. But most of the time, if I find it at Target, Walmart, TJ Maxx, all that kind of stuff, like TJ Maxx only has a couple, right? So maybe Target, Walmart. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to buy 4, 6, maybe 12, depending how much it costs, how much prep it's going to take me, how much time it's going to invest. Like, do I have to polybag it? Do I have to take the sticker off? Like, all those things factor into it. How much profit it's going to make me? What's the ROI? Then I decide, okay, I'm going to test these. As soon as they start selling, I will go and clear the shelf at that point. But I always just test it out because there's nothing worse than getting stuck with a bunch of stuff that's not moving. And like I mentioned earlier, in Q4, you need as much capital and as much stock. So you don't want to be stuck with a bunch of stuff that's not selling and you tied up, $1,000 into that stock, right? So just test everything out. But as soon as it sells, go get more. Last Halloween, I was driving around to all the Walmarts. I did a whole day of trip all through Tulsa to all the little Walmarts looking for these hot Halloween costumes. I literally parked, went to the Halloween aisle, checked out, went to the next one. That's the best part about Q4 is when you're on those chases. I had a chase earlier this year with Pop Shelf, but other than that, like it's been since last Q4 that I've had a chase. So it's really fun chasing down that stuff that's selling like hotcakes. So definitely you want to be aware of what's going on, but once you see it selling, go get it all. But just test it out first. That's my advice anyways. You do you. Another question that comes up often is like, how many sellers? Is there's too many sellers on a listing? And for me, I don't really care about how many sellers are on the listing unless it's like maybe it's like 500,000 in toys sales rank and there's 100 sellers on it. I'm probably going to save my money and buy something lower ranked that's going to sell faster, right? Sales rank tells you how fast something is selling. So you definitely want to know. You definitely want to be using Keepa. So with Keepa, you can actually filter out over a year and see, hey, this Halloween costume, this Christmas item, this Thanksgiving napkins, how did those do last year? Maybe they're ranked, I don't know, 1 million in home right now because we're a couple months out still. But last year, how did they do? And if you can see like, oh, they were ranked like 40,000 in kitchen last year, odds are pretty high that as the holiday comes around, it's going to get better. The other thing that Keepa and Sales Rank will tell you is if something is sold out. So if something is sold out, then the rank is obviously going to go up, right? Because the sales rank is telling you how well it's selling. If it's not selling at all because it's sold out, the rank is going to go up. I was actually sourcing a little bit of wholesale, looking at Christmas items I'm going to bundle and Halloween items. And as of July, Halloween items are already very low ranked. Christmas items were still kind of higher ranked because they're a little bit further out still, right? So all of those will go into it. But how many sellers are on it, I really don't care. If the item is 150,000 in toys or 50,000 in toys and there's 200 sellers, I don't care. I do kind of look at like if it gets to the point where it costs me $50 to buy it, and I'm only going to make maybe $20 ROI, or $20 profit, which that wouldn't be 50% ROI, but whatever, let's just say. And it's a big toy, and it's going to be chunky to like sell or like ship or whatever. It's got some little red flags. I might look at how many sellers are like there. I will look like, are they tanking the price? Do you see the penny dropping already happening? Do you see the lower already happening? Sometimes I'll say like, I'll come back to it and I'll see if it's gotten any better. There are things, it's like a multifaceted like decisions. And if you're kind of new at this, you'll be like, this seems like a lot of stuff to consider, right? But once you get going and if you've been selling for a while, you already know, like you can make these decisions like that, be like, not worth it. Yes, worth it. And you'll be able to make them faster, but it really does matter as far as like freeing up your capital. I cannot stress this enough. Send in more inventory than you think you need. You are going to need as much inventory in the warehouses in November. By Black Friday, by Thanksgiving, you want to have as much stock and all through December in the warehouse because it's going to fly off your shelves and you need capital for that. So practice these things now. Practice your buying decisions now. Get into Keepa. Look at the history. Look at the variations. Is that one you're buying the best variation or is it the worst variation? If it's the worst variation, it's probably not going to sell. If it's the best variation, that's great. That sales rank goes with that. If you're in Keepa on the variations tab, there's a little trophy that tells you it's the best one or not, if you didn't know. So there's a lot of different things. I don't care how many sellers, unless it's really high ranked or unless the profit's not really there, unless all the sellers seem to be tanking each other. Like there's things that I really don't care about how many sellers in general, unless those situations. So here's my recap for pricing. Make sure it's available before you turn your repricer on and before you reprice manually if you're using a if you're not using a repricer. Seasonal items, candy, I don't know if I'm doing candy this year. Candy the last 2 years has tanked bad, and so I'm not sure I'm going to do it. But anyways, seasonal items in early or out late because it's going to be a big old dip in the middle. So if it doesn't sell what you wanted it for now, just know that, don't panic, drop your price. Know where you're buying it, know where you found it from. If it was a publicly shared place, widely available, that's probably a red flag that it's going to tank. If it's a private group like my Bolo group, that's safer, right? It's just a small group of people who know about it, and we all, at least in my Bolo group anyways, agree to keep the prices high. We don't tank our prices. Everything goes really well in there, and Q4 is an awesome time. How many sellers doesn't necessarily matter, especially if it's a low rank, fast moving item. And use Keepa for all your seasonal items to see what the rank was last year. Just because it maybe doesn't have a rank right now, if it had a rank last year, that's a good indicator that it's probably going to do well. Save all the capital you can. Send as much stock as you can. I'm going to be back again next week, so I have a video every week leading into Q4 because it is the best time of year, the most profitable time of year, my favorite time of year, and I know it's going to be your favorite as well. So stay tuned. August 25th, the Q4 Bolo group opens. You can join my year-round Bolo group right now and hang out in the meantime, and I will see you back here for another Amazon selling video.